Greta Gerwig, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me here.
So I'm so excited to talk to you about your version of Little Women and the two films we're showing tonight.
Wonderful.
But before we get into that, let's talk about the book in general.
Sure.
Because Little Women, written by Louisa May Alcott, published in 1868. And since then, it's never been out of print. And it was translated, I think, into over 55 different languages.
That's right.
So what do you think it is about this story that has such a wide appeal?
Well, it was the thing that grabbed me when I was a girl. It was my book. It was my character. The character of Jo March was the girl that I loved. And I don't know if I was like Jo March, and that's why I loved her, or I loved Jo March and then I tried to make myself like her. But it was something went on where I so wholly identified with her ambition, her dreams, her anger, her striving to make her mark. And I felt like I had all of those things. But I think at the core of it, it's women who are wanting to be bigger than the world is capable of giving them at that moment. And I think, it was 150 years ago, but it's still true. Amy has a line in the book, the world is hard on ambitious girls. And I think the world's still hard on ambitious girls. And then I think the emotional core of it is this bond between sisters and this family, mothers, sisters, kind of this female utopia of the book. I think it's still so resonant because that's a thing that we still love and we still look for.
Yeah, I admire Jo knows who she is and she tries so hard to stick to that, even though the world tells her she should be something different, which is something that happens to women these days too.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it couldn't be more timely.
And I love that every generation gets a Little Women on the big screen.
I hope so.
Yeah. So with your version, you wanted to make this actually before Lady Bird, is that
Yes, I had written a couple of drafts of this before I made Lady Bird, and I always wanted to direct it, but because I hadn't directed yet alone, they didn't know that I was going to, but I did. Yeah. And then after Lady Bird came out, they were like, are you interested in directing Little Women? And I was jumped at the chance.
Yeah, well, it's a wonderful version, and we're going to start with the 1933 adaptation of Little Women, which was directed by George Cukor and stars Katharine Hepburn as Jo March, who to me seems to embody that rebel spirit of Jo.
Right, Katharine Hepburn is a wonderful Jo March, and I was saying this before, but I do have to own up that I didn't re-look at any of these movies, but I've seen them all in my life, but I wanted them to exist as kind of this collective memory of what the iconography of Little Women is, because it was something I was trying to play with in my film of what are these moments that are so iconic for everyone from Little Women. And I think having that collective memory of what are the film images. But I do remember, he's a great director, and she's
a women's director.
She's a great actor. But I do remember, it's just, Katharine Hepburn is extraordinary. I hear all those lines with her way of saying it in my head, and it makes me laugh. It's very wonderful.
Yeah, and you can tell she's having a lot of fun doing this character with her Rodrigo and
Rodrigo.
Rodrigo.
Save me!
Well, George Cukor, he didn't read the book until he was hired to be the director, because he said that he felt like it was for little girls.
Yes.
But of course, once he read the book, he found that it wasn't sentimental or saccharine, but actually a wonderful portrait of New England family life.
Yes.
Do you think that's a common misconception about this book?
Oh, Lord, yeah. From that day to this, I feel like there's... this book is... one of our American literary classics. It's in the canon, it should be in the canon, and it's not women's literature. It's great American literature, and it should be right alongside with other books. But because it's about four sisters, you really have to make people know that it's important, because I think the reaction is kind of a knee-jerk sense of like, it's about sisters.
It's for women.
It's for women.
It's not for me.
But I think one of the wonderful things is with the film that we made, the group of men that we gathered to be the men of Little Women, who are so wonderful. including Tracy Letts, who's a writer and an actor who I've worked with a couple of times. It was actually one of his favorite books when he was growing up, which made me feel like, no wonder I like you.
Yes, we have that kinship. Yeah. All right, well, let's take a look. From 1933, directed by George Cukor, this is Little Women.